This video is about Korean-style management, brought to you by Martin Hemmert. I'm a professor of international business at Korea University Business School. So, over the last decades, Korean companies have transformed themselves from local businesses in a poor developing country to leading global competitors in a range of knowledge-intensive industries. How could they achieve such a miraculous advancement? A major source of Korean companies' strength, which enabled their dramatic rise, is their management system. Korean-style management combines ideas from the USA and Japan with original Korean methods for a unique blend of effective practices. Korean-style management allows companies to act quickly, flexibly, and decisively, particularly when facing a crisis. Nonetheless, regardless of their strong performance, Korean companies are frequently criticized for their unprofessional and inferior management practice. So after all, is Korean-style management effective? Yes, it is highly effective in global competition, particularly in fast-moving industries. So let's have a closer look in which ways Korean-style management is effective. It enables Korean companies to develop powerful and shared long-term visions to make sure everybody knows where the company is heading and to be on the same page. Furthermore, it enables the companies to put these visions into actionable plans and then implement these plans quickly and effectively, thereby outcompeting rivals through their bold and aggressive action. At the same time, their management system also allows Korean companies to address business challenges through flexible adjustments. Now, what is the essence of Korean-style management? It is about aggressive strategic action, strong leadership, and investing into and strongly motivating people. So let's have a closer look. There are three pillars of Korean-style management. First of all, Korean-style strategy. This is first of all about seeking opportunities by developing new technologies and entering new markets and industries. In other words, Korean companies are strongly and aggressively innovating and internationalizing. And then equally important, they bring out these growth strategies quickly and flexibly, often taking competitors by surprise. Secondly, Korean-style leadership. This is firstly about exciting visions by business leaders at the top level, which are supported by consistent corporate values. So everybody gets excited about some really bold vision that has been developed for the company. Furthermore, ambitious and very specific goals are set, all the way from the executive level to the line worker level. So everybody knows what they need to do to get it done, to get the company's goals achieved. Thirdly, Korean-style human resource management. This is about recruiting motivated people, so finding individuals who are really motivated to work for a particular company, and once you have recruited them, training them extensively, in other words, strongly investing into their skill development, to make sure they have all their needed skills to be most effective for their companies. Furthermore, and finally, it is also about providing strong performance incentives to managers and employees, so they are strongly incentivized to do their best and achieve their goals and the company's goals. Now, why Korean-style management is really effective? Essentially, it provides companies with capabilities to constantly learn and adjust, not just normal capabilities. These capabilities can be understood as meta capabilities or dynamic capabilities, which are applicable to essentially any business situation, not just a specific business situation. So what are these meta capabilities or dynamic capabilities? First of all, Korean companies are good at identifying opportunities and then seizing them quickly and without any hesitation. Furthermore, they are also very good at overcoming difficulties. They face some major challenges. They will effectively find ways to overcome these challenges and difficulties and sustain their business. Korean companies are also capable of learning from their own past successes and failures. So, something worked very well, they'll make sure they'll do it all over again to amplify their success. If something didn't work well in the past, they'll find out exactly what was the problem and make sure they will not commit the same mistake again in the future. Korean companies are also very proficient at learning from others. Benchmarking is a national sport in this country. So Korean companies extensively benchmark leading global competitors and learn and absorb their best practices to become more effective themselves. Korean companies act quickly in whatever they do, much more quickly than most of their global competitors. And they also have the capabilities to change procedures flexibly. The only things that cannot be changed is achieving the goals and getting there quickly. Anything else can be changed on the run depending on needs and situations. Given all these credentials, does Korean-style management need to be improved? Yes, certainly. Korean companies need to constantly update their managerial practices to address ongoing challenges in their business environment. So let's have a closer look. What are the challenges and improvement needs which Korean companies are facing? First of all, on the general level, many Korean companies should improve their corporate governance practices, being more transparent and accountable. Furthermore, they shouldn't exclusively rely on family business managers who are also owners of the companies. Instead, they should nurture and empower more non-family business leaders and managers who are not members of the owners' families to strengthen their overall managerial capabilities and their professionalism. Secondly, on the domestic level within Korea, many Korean companies need to work hard to motivate young professionals by promoting more relaxed, more gender equal, and more family-friendly corporate cultures to embrace the values of many young professionals in the face of major change in Korean society. Furthermore, companies should also do more to encourage bottom-up initiatives, not exclusively rely on top-down leadership and management, and at the same time enhance the creativity of their knowledge workers and employees, thereby also tolerating failure. This is inevitable if you try to be creative and innovative. So it needs to be embraced, and is a major departure from past practices and mindsets of many Korean companies. Finally, on the global level, this is really important as so many Korean companies are so highly globalized these days. Still, most of the companies are highly centralized, meaning global headquarters in Korea control most of the businesses and the processes, even in remote countries and at subsidiaries anywhere in the world. So the companies should decentralize their global management structures and processes to empower the global subsidiaries and make sure that these subsidiaries' management at the local level can be more effective. Furthermore, beyond the organizational level, Korean companies should also promote non-Korean managers to a higher extent, essentially motivating them and empowering them again to enhance their global knowledge pool. At the end of the day, a level playing field for everybody in a global organization is very important. So eventually, companies should try to introduce English as a global communication standards within their companies. So, given all these challenges Korean companies are facing and the various aspects where they need to improve, will Korean-style management be effective in the future? Yes, definitely. It will remain highly effective in the future because the global business environment becomes ever more volatile and dynamic, playing into the strengths of Korean-style management. Korean firms are pragmatic and happy to reinvent themselves in an ever-changing global business environment. So what exactly are the major aspects of the global business environment that play into the hands of Korean companies? First of all, there is accelerating technological progress. Technologies and innovations are ever more quickly developed and commercialized. So it is impossible to rely on past and outdated products and innovations. You need to adjust to ever speeding up innovation. Secondly, emerging markets such as China, India, and many other major countries are ever increasing their weight in the world economy. These emerging markets feature very high extent of uncertainty and volatility, much more so than mature and developed countries. So again, we see much more dynamism in the world economy because emerging markets become ever more important. Thirdly, and obviously, there is an increasing exposure to all kinds of global disruptions, such as most recently the COVID-19 pandemic in a very volatile and interconnected world. All these things mean that companies that are good at adjusting and dealing with change, such as Korean companies, are best prepared. So, Korean companies which are good at acting boldly, taking the risks, instead of doing nothing, which would be the worst thing in such an environment to do, learning quickly and implementing plans without hesitation, and always adjusting depending on ever-changing needs and changes in the business environment. To sum up, Korean-style management will remain effective in a highly dynamic global business environment as long as Korean companies maintain their spirit of continuous learning and change. The core of Korean-style management is the willingness to overhaul outdated practices and embrace new practices. The worst enemy of Korean companies are neither global competitors nor crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Their worst enemy is complacency. If you would like to know more about Korean-style management, you may have a look into these books. Thank you very much.